I hear this one a lot. OCD is just about being clean or organized.
No. If there's something taboo to find, OCD will find it.
One of the focuses of my obsessive fear is that I'll accidentally plagiarize because, of course, it attacks something that you love that's important to you, which for me is writing. So another myth, since OCD is chronic, there is no point in trying to treat it.
I think this is a trick of OCD where it's trying to distract you away from doing any kind of treatment. But here's what we know. There is great evidence-based therapy for OCD.
And I'm living evidence of this. Like, I have a chronic health condition in OCD. I expect to have it for the rest of my life. I also have a good life. Hi, I'm John Green, and I'm here with Dr. Patrick McGrath of NOCD, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some myths that we hear around OCD. I mean, I don't know about you, but all the time people will present me with a myth about OCD that exhausts me, and so today we are going to get to some of the realities. So the first myth, I hear this all the time, everyone's a little OCD.
I hear that a lot too, because the moment I tell people what I do, that's one of the first things that anybody says.
Right.
Is, oh, you don't have a little OCD.
Yeah, this also happens when I tell people that I have OCD.
Yeah, so look at what we share. Here's what we know. OCD is a very serious mental health condition. It affects 1 in 40 people or adults in the United States. There is treatment that is available for it, which is great. It is not just a personality quirk, and it's not something that you have a little bit of. It's a serious diagnosis, and we have a proper way to diagnose people with OCD by going over how much intrusions the obsessions and compulsions bring into people's lives. And we have therapy that helps people learn how to live with these things instead of doing what OCD wants them to do, which is all of the compulsions. That being said, I don't see somebody could have a little OCD. What people do have are quirks, right? So OCD isn't a quirk, but everybody has quirks. So maybe you check the garage door twice before you leave the house. Maybe you're one of those people that beep, beep, does the car twice instead of just one time.
I do that.
Okay, you know?
I do that. It's not related to my OCD, but I do it.
Yeah, so that's a quirk thing, right? But how many people will say, oh, that's just my OCD. I do the, well, you know, I'm sure from your own experience, if that could just be your OCD, you'd be like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, instead it's a really debilitating illness that I live with and that thankfully there's treatment for.
Right.
Next myth, I hear this one a lot. OCD is just about being clean or organized.
No.
No.
No. If there's something taboo to find, OCD will find it. If there's something that you love, OCD will attack it. OCD is insidious, and it goes after the things that are most important to you. It turns out it's just easier to portray people cleaning and straightening things on TV than it is many of the other things that OCD would do. And it might be more difficult to get something past censors even, right, for certain of the topics of OCD because they can be pretty sensitive things. All of that being said, the good thing is there's still treatment available for any kind of OCD, no matter if it goes to topics like pedophilia or perinatal OCD. What if I accidentally drop my child down the stairs, or hit and run? Was that a bumper? Did I just run somebody over? Or scrupulosity? What if I actually am going to an afterlife that I don't want forever, and maybe I need to do 25 more hours of prayer just to make sure that that last thing I thought doesn't send me to some afterlife that I really fear. So OCD goes to the places that it needs to go to get you to do a compulsion. Now, if that is cleaning, it can go there. That can be a part of it, but it's a scratch on the surface of all of the ways that OCD might manifest itself.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a reason the O in OCD comes before the C, right? Which is that the obsessive fears are what starts it, and then the compulsive behaviors are what we use to manage those obsessive fears or to try to lessen their impact and the dread and shame and guilt and fear and anxiety we feel in the face of them. I don't have any OCD around cleanliness or cleaning, as my wife will happily point out to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's very common. It is also common for people to, use cleaning behaviors as compulsions. And,
Sure.
But there are also almost an infinite number of other compulsions.
And maybe even one more thing to add to that. Sometimes there's the misconception that the cleaning is only because I don't want to get a germ. But some people will clean so that they don't give germs to other people.
Right.
So it could even involve, I do this cleaning to not harm others. So maybe we have a combination of subtypes into that experience.
Fascinating. All right, another myth that people with OCD often believe, having disturbing thoughts means I secretly want to do those things.
Well, we look at a term we say is ego dystonic, meaning something that goes against myself, my values, things that I'm not interested in. Let me take an author example, you being an author. Does Stephen King go out and actually do the things that he writes about?
Right.
Right? Because his brain had to think those things up. And if it was the case that if you think some of those things, it means you want to do them, he's one of the most murderous people in the entire world, if that's the case.
I thought you were going to say that. I thought you were going to bring up plagiarism, because one of the focuses of my obsessive fear is that I'll accidentally plagiarize, because of course it attacks something that you love,
There we
that's
go.
important to you,
Yeah.
which for me is writing, and so that I'll accidentally plagiarize like an entire section of a novel or something. Now this can't happen.
No.
But I still am very afraid of it.
Right. That's why we have editors and all sorts of things. But I could give you 20 reasons to rationalize why you don't need to fear it, and your OCD would go, pfft. Yeah.
As long as I can't fully close the loop on the fear, I will have the fear.
Exactly.
And so, that's the nature of OCD, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So another myth, since OCD is chronic, there is no point in trying to treat it.
Imagine if we held that for physical conditions and we just said, well, so don't even try, right? I mean, how many lawsuits would there be?
Right.
And I think this is a trick of OCD, that it doesn't want you to get treatment. So it will tell you, hey, you can't ever do this good enough, so don't even try. And just live a life of doing compulsions, because your best way out of this is through OCD instead of through challenging OCD. This is the OCD trickery that I often talk about, where it's trying to distract you away from doing any kind of treatment. But here's what we know. There is great evidence-based therapy for OCD. There's exposure and response prevention. There are medications. There's the combination of the two. And people can find the right regimen of one or both of those things to be able to start to live the life that they want to live and not the life that OCD wants them to live. And in doing so, it doesn't mean that OCD is gone. It means that you now live a life where you learn to live with OCD instead of a life that is controlled by OCD.
And I'm living evidence of this. Like, I have a chronic health condition in OCD. I expect to have it for the rest of my life. I also have a good life. And those things coexist because I found the right regimen for me, because I found the right medication and the right kind of ERP to really help me. I found what works. And like you said, it's evidence-based. And there's a reason why there are a lot of people like me for whom it works, because it works.
And you and I have talked at other times about, we have no issue with therapy. There's all sorts of therapies out there, and general talk therapy can be helpful for people who just want to go over things in their life, but it's not the treatment for OCD. It's really finding that specialist who can help you with it.
Right. So we've talked about some myths today. I think it's really important to note that these myths are really troubling to me, because they're part of the reason why it's hard for people to get a proper diagnosis and to start treatment promptly. I know that for years I wasn't diagnosed with OCD because I didn't think I could have OCD because I wasn't organized. And so I thought that was the disease. And it was obvious that I didn't have that disease, because if I did, I would be organized.
Yeah.
And it's only in understanding the breadth of OCD that I was able to begin to understand that I had OCD and to be diagnosed with it, and then to get the treatment that I needed. Can you talk a little bit about how you see this impacting the lives of your patients?
Yeah, they do talk about, I don't see my kind of OCD out there. I don't see it described. And that's why I think doing these types of things does put out into the world that there is more to OCD than washing your hands or straightening your house, right? And it isn't just about what if I get sick. On the flip side, when I do talks about OCD, it's always interesting to watch the light bulbs go on of therapists I'm working with who start to think about, as I'm giving examples, wait, I've talked to somebody who had what you just described, and I kept trying to teach them to do diaphragmatic breathing and muscle relaxation and closed eye visualizations as a way to manage it. And one example, if you'll indulge for a moment, that I do is, you know how to drive, correct, John?
I do.
And driving can be stressful when you learn how to drive.
Yes.
How much closed eye visualization, diaphragmatic breathing, and muscle relaxation did you do when learning how to drive?
Very little, and I don't think it would have been helpful.
Right. So if you can do that stressful experience without safety behaviors, you can also live a life with OCD without safety behaviors, even though OCD says the only reason everything is okay is because of the safety behaviors. So I spend a lot of time then trying to help people not be fooled into believing they have to do avoidance and reassurance and distraction and use substances and do compulsions as a way to be okay. You can walk away from all those things, live in a world that is not always comfortable, and handle it.
Thank you for that. I think that's really important to hear. It's also important for me to hear. It's important to have that message reinforced for me because this is something that I'm going to live with, probably for the rest of my life. And it need to be reminded periodically that I can live with it and I can live with it well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you say that, John, because that is a message that I try to get across through the podcast, through the webinars I do every Wednesday, is you can live with OCD, right? And it doesn't have to be in the driver's seat. It can be in the trunk. It's going to be there. This won't shock you, I know, but wherever you go, your brain goes with you.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
Which means OCD's one of the traveling partners, but it doesn't have to be the most prominent one. And for you and for all of you out there who are watching, we hope that you'll be inspired to move toward a life that isn't driven by OCD, but that just has OCD as a part of it. And if you're looking for help for that, you can reach out to us at NOCD. NOCD.com is where you'll go. You can set up an appointment with one of our care advisors. They will get you set up with a therapist who will help to really personalize treatment for you. And you can get that evidence-based care of exposure and response prevention therapy so that you can really live that life that you want to live. And we hope that you'll take that step to do so. Remember this. You can only be brave if first you go through being afraid. And taking that step to get treatment might be something that you're afraid of. And I hope you show your bravery in taking that step. We look forward to working with you.